This offseason, the Islanders have a golden opportunity to add a player they've needed for a very long time. On this episode of Islanders Digest, we're going to be talking about free agency and who the Islanders should be targeting and whether or not it makes sense to get these players on a long-term contract. We're going to break it all down on this episode. But before we get into that, we notice that 72% of you who watch these videos have not yet subscribed to the channel. So if you're an Islander fan, you want more Islanders content just like this, what are you waiting for? Hit subscribe. It's free. Our goal is 1,000 subscribers before the NHL draft. We're just under 100 away. So if you haven't already, be sure to join this Islanders community on YouTube. Thank you to all of you who already have subscribed. Your support means a lot as we continue to put out Islanders content every single day. Now, today we're going to be talking about free agency for the New York Islanders and two targets who could be a real good fit, especially short term, but I question whether or not they make sense long term for the franchise. Now, since we're talking about free agency, I know people are going to bring up the Islanders don't have a lot of money, especially when it comes to having to bring back all their RFAs. For the sake of this video, the Islanders in this scenario have traded JG Pageau or Anders Lee for cap space. We're not going to get into too much how that works and what they get in return. We're going to actually be talking about JG Pageau in tomorrow's video, but just so you know where the cap space will come from, it'll be coming from JG Pageau being traded. With that, let's get right into these targets. Now, this comes from an article from the Hockey News. Interestingly enough, the Hockey News actually said that they don't view Mitch Marner as a great fit for the Islanders. In fact, they have both these players as good targets as temporary stopgap players to kind of fill the void temporarily, which honestly does not make sense. If you were signing a player in free agency, it's going to be for the long haul, especially one of the big names. That's just how it works. And when it comes to all these players, I think Mitch Marner, if the Islanders do have the opportunity to sign him, they should. However, realistically, Mitch Marner is going to have so many options. It's going to be hard for the Islanders to pry him away from a team that likely is in a better position. However, with Boeser and Ehlers, I think it does, because Ehlers is the other player we're going to be talking about later on in this video. Stay tuned. I meant to keep that a secret, but I guess I gave it away. No big deal. But when it comes to those two guys, I think there's a high chance if the Islanders do give them an offer that is fair, meaning it's what they're asking for, and the full 7 years, I think they take it. Which is why we're going to go into this now, talk about Boeser first, and whether or not it makes sense for the Islanders to offer that 7-year, $8 million or so offer that they are going to want. With Boeser, now in the article, it says it makes total sense for the Islanders to offer him $8 million for 4 years. And so that I say absolutely. If you can somehow get Boeser or Ehlers for 4 years at $8 million, you absolutely take it, because that really takes away the risk when it comes to signing both these players. That's really not the conversation. In reality, in order to get these players, you're going to have to offer them the full 7 years that they want. Boeser, the whole reason why he's leaving Vancouver is they did not trust him long term. They had no problem offering him $8 million if he wanted that. It just had to be a 3, 4, 5-year deal. Clearly, he wants to stay on a team as long as possible. He wants that long-term security. So for this situation, we're going to talk about what that's going to look like for the Islanders. And in the short term, it obviously makes sense to bring Boeser in. As we're going to talk about, looking at his stats, he would be a goal scorer for this team that really struggles to score goals. Now, last season for Boeser was a real step back in his production from his career high year the year before, and he still scored 25 goals. That would have been so huge for the New York Islanders. He's also effective on the power play and would make the Islanders' power play honestly relevant, while it currently just does not seem to be that at this point in time. They really struggle in all elements. They have no shooter, and Boeser would be that shooter. The shooter we've even talked about as scoring winger for so long, and last season he scored 40 goals. Like the year before, he scored 40 goals in one season. That would be huge production for the New York Islanders. So you're probably wondering why I'm so hesitant to bring him in and why I think it probably doesn't make sense for the team long term. And to that, my response is injuries. Brock Boeser has not been able to stay healthy. He has been better in the past 3 years. I will give him credit. But what really concerns me when it comes to Boeser in a long-term contract is earlier on in his career, the injury that really bugged him was a back injury. And when it comes to signing a player long-term, that is as bad of an injury as you can possibly have, because back injuries do not age well at all. And while I have no doubt that Boeser can put up 25, maybe 30 goals for the Islanders next season, I'm really questioning what he's going to be able to do 5, 6, 7 years down the line, especially when you consider next year, while Boeser would definitely make the Islanders more relevant in the conversation for a wild card. We've heard Mathew Barzal talk about how he wants the Islanders to be competitive, and Boeser on the Islanders does make them a wild card team, in my opinion, next season. Doesn't make them a contender anyway, though. And by the time I think this team is going to be ready to be a contender once again, I feel like Boeser is going to have already played his best games in the NHL and would become a liability really quickly. Because of that, I just don't think this is a great fit for the Islanders. Again, I do think he would come if they offered him a 7-year deal. I mean, he has a great relationship with Bo Horvat. He probably would be playing with Horvat. He probably would be playing with Matt Barzal. As in this scenario, if you're trading Pajot, Bo Horvat and Matt Barzal are definitely going to be separated, playing in two separate lines. And it'd be really cool to see Matt Barzal finally have the opportunity to play with a true goal scorer. I think he is one of the best playmakers in the league, and he's just never played with that elite talent. And I think Boeser could be that talent. And definitely part of the reason why he struggled in Vancouver this year is Pettersson was not playing well. As a result, it's really hard for a pure goal scorer to score when their playmaker isn't playing great, but still, because of the injury history, I just don't know if this makes sense long term. Let me know what you think in the comments, though. If you'd be excited the Islanders brought in Brock Boeser. Now we're going to talk about Nicolaj Ehlers. And Nicolaj Ehlers is actually an interesting one. Earlier on in the year, I was actually really excited about the idea of the Islanders adding Nicolaj Ehlers to really change this offense up. I do still think he would be a great addition if the Islanders brought him in. Although, especially now with the Islanders' direction, I'm not sure if that makes the most sense. I honestly think it makes sense for the Islanders to not really make a big acquisition. Either trade players off or just see what you have, and perhaps fall a little bit in the draft order to get a good pick. But if the goal is to make the playoffs next season, I think Ehlers is perhaps the best fit for the Islanders. Now, the issue, again, is you're going to have to offer him a 7-year deal or a 6-year deal. He's going to want term. And with Ehlers, he just also struggles to stay healthy, and even more so than when it comes to Boeser. Although, one thing I like about Ehlers over Boeser, really quickly, is if you look at Boeser's numbers, there's a lot of inconsistency. He goes from having a 26-goal season to 16. Sometimes the points are really up, sometimes they're down. Other than that 1 year where he has scored 733 points, which I do think would be worth $8 million, he really hasn't had an $8 million season. And at this point, looking at how many years he's played in the NHL, yeah, I kind of assume that 40-goal year is kind of an outlier, and you're not going to get that again. Ehlers, on the other hand, has had several really impressive seasons in the NHL. A couple times, he's practically scored at a point per game. Other seasons, such as last 2 seasons ago when he played 82 games, which was his most healthy season in the NHL, he put up 61 points. So he's not going to be a game changer on his own, but when playing with a good line, Ehlers is a really effective player. While he doesn't score as many goals as Brock Boeser, he scores more consistently. You look at all his years where he is relatively healthy, and even his shortened season in 2020, 2021, in just 47 goal games, he scored 21 goals. So he does have the potential to put up a lot of goals. His best season for goals, 29 goals, his 3rd year in the NHL. But just the last year, in 69 games, he had 24 goals. So he is, while not as, he doesn't have as high a ceiling when it comes to goal scoring as Boeser, and he's not quite a sharpshooter. This is another player who can put up a lot of goals from the wing on the Islanders, which is what you want to see. And he's also fast, which means he'll be a really good winger to play with Matt Barzal. And I think they could really bring out the best in each other. As for whether or not he would come to the Islanders, a big issue he's had in Winnipeg is he wants a bigger role where he can really be a first line guy and have bigger minutes, more responsibility. And on the Islanders, he would definitely get that, because the Islanders forwards are just not as deep as the Winnipeg Jets, and they're bringing him in. If you're paying him $8-9 million, probably be around 8.5 in the 7-year contract, you are definitely committing to him being a key player on your roster. The issue again for me, well, I think I would rather Ehlers over Boeser just because he has been so consistent. But unfortunately, that consistently also comes with injuries, and he has consistently been injured throughout his NHL career. This year, just played 69 games. 3 seasons ago, he played 45 and 62, 47, 71, 62. Really, you have to look, other than 2 years ago, you have to look all the way back to his sophomore year in the NHL to see a year where he stayed fully healthy. When it comes to signing a guy to a long-term contract, that is concerning. And while Ehlers did look really strong in the playoffs this year and really did not look like those injuries were affecting him, eventually it is going to catch up. If you're the Islanders, again, I just don't think it makes sense to put big money in a player who can't stay healthy. That being said, I'd love to know your thoughts on these two players in the comments below. Do you think the Islanders should chase a big fish, such as Nicolaj Ehlers or Brock Boeser? And in addition, if you had to pick between those two players, which one would you like to see? I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments below. If there are any other free agents that I have not talked about that you think would be a good fit for the Islanders, as always, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel. My name is Patrick Nilan. This is Islanders Digest. Let's go, Islanders.